Welcome to Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. I'm Get, your host. What we'll be doing is the two natal charts. There will be compatibility. We're also going to be checking for twin flames compatibility. So we'll be doing both charts and all the information involved on your natal charts. Your natal charts are your prophecies for life. This is why you need them. And this is why you need to keep them updated. Everything above you is always moving around, and every time they move around, as above, so below. But as above, so below. They're telling you your life story. When somebody says it's written in the stars, they're telling you the truth. So we'll begin at the chart on the left. The AC is the ascendant. It's where the sun was rising over the horizon at the moment of birth. The EP is the east point, where the sun was rising over the ecliptic at time of birth. Now, because you have both the EP and AP in that location, it makes it the first house. The first house describes what some people call the mask. This is how people see this person. Aries tend to be very forward moving. Some people say they're aggressive or can be aggressive. Can even be they're ruled by Mars. Aries is ruled by Mars. So they can be somewhat warlike, but they definitely very leadership qualities. And also Aries is usually the first house of the zodiac. So they're always dealing with the first or the beginnings. That number 22 is basically the number you see, 1111. That's 22. It's also an angelic number, which breaks down to 4. And then you see Jupiter in the very next house, and Jupiter looks like the number 4. So definitely dealing with some angelic connections there. So that's how the person will see them with the Aries. Now, Aries is the first house that deals with I am. When you go the opposite of Aries, you should be looking at the 7th house, which deals with the we. Now, they have an interesting second house because it is ruled by Taurus, and the second house is about possessions, finances, and a person's value system, because a Taurus likes to put value on things. But you have a Jupiter retrograde. But I'm told that a Jupiter retrograde is not as bad as in, say, other retrogrades. And right now Jupiter is in Scorpio, and I believe it's still retrograde. And I do have a recent space chart. I'm going to try to find it real quick and take a look at it. Yes, Jupiter is still retrograde in Scorpio. So this person is feeling it, and they have been feeling it, because the connection between Aries and Scorpio, Mars used to rule Scorpio, but now Mars rules Aries, and Pluto now rules Scorpio. But because Jupiter retrograde is in Scorpio, they're feeling that. And why is that important? Because Scorpio rules the 8th house, which is other people's money, shared resources. The second house that we're looking at on her chart is ruled by Taurus, and that's their personal money. But they've had other people's money's experiences because Jupiter retrograde is in Scorpio, and they're dealing with things like that. Actually, anything that they're dealing with that you've been hearing in the news and stuff, this person may have come in contact. And just have to be careful, because that's in their financial sector. So a novice would say Well, if Jupiter direct means good fortune and expansion, then Jupiter retrograde, meaning backwards motion, basically retrograde, retro, would mean lack of finances and a shrinking, not an expanding. But the experts say that's not always necessarily true. Jupiter usually goes retrograde to help you reevaluate ethics, spiritual beliefs, things that you used to think was wrong. Maybe now you'll think they're right, and it helps you increase your psychic abilities as well, your intuition as well. But now I'm looking at this because there's a gentleman that deals with retrogrades, but he gives a lot of information. It's not always correct, and sometimes some of it can be negative, but he does give some good information in there. So I'm going to see if I can find him and look that up. But just give me a moment. I haven't gone to his website in a while. Just give me a moment. Okay, I think we have him. Because we're looking at Jupiter retrograde in the second house. Now, like I said, he does a lot of writing, and he tends to repeat. Like he'll say almost the same thing almost for every house placement. So a lot of his information is kind of like take it with a grain of salt, and then but sometimes he has some jewels in there. So that's what I'm looking for, the jewels. So just give me a moment. So he's saying that this might bless you with a very good or great results relating to the fields of marriage, professions, children, health, wealth, fame, and many other spheres of one's life. But he's saying that's going to depend on the overall tone of the natal chart. But you'll have success in a wide variety of professional spheres, and accordingly, the natives under this influence may achieve success through many types of professional spheres. They're saying this person may become interested in running some type of business or practice instead of working for other people, and accordingly, these natives may engage in different types of businesses or practices based on their overall horoscope. So now he's talking a lot about Capricorn. See, this is how his mind is working. Since he said business, he jumped all the way into Capricorn and Saturn. So he jumped all the way into the 10th house. But we're not really interested in all this information. We're interested in Jupiter retrograde and Taurus, second house. That's what we're interested in. Right now, we don't care about Capricorn and any of that other stuff. So that's what he should have talked about, because that's what we're looking for. So he gave a lot of information on that. So right now, it's irrelevant. So they're saying Jupiter. He's saying retrograde Jupiter in the second house can bless the creative with the person with creative abilities. So this person may be creative and artistic, especially in the field of finances, because that's what this house is about: possessions and finances. At some point in time, this person may have made money off of anything. Could have been art. Could have just been garage sales, uh, yard sales, but any type of creative money making opportunities. Could be art, because remember, Taurus is ruled by Venus, and Venus is very cultured, loves the arts and things like that. Anything, really making any money off of Venus, Libra type activities. Even music, like I said, selling things. And they're saying this person may even have gone into the a form of entertainment world or art. Because let's just say a person's a poet, that's still entertainment world. Even though people may take a poet a little bit more serious, it's still the entertainment world. You're still standing up in front of people. Even if you consider that education, it's like what KRS-One will call it, edutainment. Because it's still entertainment, but you're just educating. Now, Taurus tends to be strong, sometimes stubborn. Very, it likes sensual, likes to eat, likes to feel in touch. But a Taurus in the second house, because that's the house he rules. So that person would be, that's the house Taurus rules. So that person would be very good in that house. That's why I said it could even be any type of thing with furniture, things like that. And they're saying, depending on the placement in the second house, this person might be a singer, a very good singer, a well-known singer, or a lead singer. But it depends on what's in that second house. He really started talking a lot about Libra and Venus. But remember, as I said earlier, Venus rules Libra and Taurus. Now he gets back to the marriage. Jupiter retrograde in the second house. could bless the native with good results to his marriage, and accordingly, some natives benefiting from this positive influence may witness different types of quantum of good results depending on the type of strength on the natal chart. Some natives with this placement may get married to beautiful, well-mannered, and civilized life partners who can not only enrich their marriages through their beauty as well as qualities, but can also provide much support and strength by virtue of the many other qualities as well as by the virtue of their support to the native. So that he said if Jupiter retrograde is in the second house, the person getting married or married to will be very beautiful, well-mannered, and they're very devoted to the concept of marriage. So this person will believe in making the marriage work. They put their best efforts to improve the quality of their marriage. They'll do their part in the marriage, and they'll support their spouse. Now they're saying if the moon was in the second house, this person may even marry into a rich family, or they may be rich themselves. But the negative aspects, if there are any, with Jupiter retrograde in the second house, he may also have problems in those. That this person may also have problems in marriage or the professional life. So they're saying if the Jupiter retrograde in the second house is negative or based on the overall natal chart, then this person would actually have problems in the professional sphere. They might not be able to establish themselves professionally till later in their lives. They may keep changing jobs. Or they may actually be jobless for a while. Okay, I'm just reading. Give me a moment. All right. He just goes on and on and on. All right. So that's my point. He just, but that's just how it is. Like the East is different from the West. A lot of times the East goes real negative, but it's just based on. It's not really based on things. So that's why I said you got to take it with a grain of salt. Because they'll say, because of this, you probably were disrespectful to your parents, and now you're going to face the. I'm like, how? What are you basing this information on? All right, so now we're still going to go another location for Jupiter retrograde. Just give me a moment. There's two social planets on a natal chart. That would be Jupiter and Saturn, both social planets. Jupiter can be very holistic. Jupiter is a ruler of travel. When Jupiter is retrograde, travel plans are often adversely affected. Even the best laid plans can fall apart. Luggage can be lost. Means of transportation can develop mechanical problems, and reservations can be mixed up or canceled. So when Jupiter is retrograde, you'll tend to search for ethics, values, or fairness. So we don't have enough information yet, but this person may even have had some type of job or responsibility where they were dealing with a financial ethics. And again, with Jupiter retrograde in Scorpio now, they may have even had to deal with that. Some type of financial questions regarding their money, other people's money, their debts. Any debts out there? And this person tends to, want to question just spiritual beliefs. They don't necessarily have a problem with spiritual stuff, but they just feel you just can't believe things without some type of something concrete to go on. So they like to try to prove it or scientific or studying it or discussing it. So they like to question things. But ironically, Jupiter retrograde does make a person more intuitive. So even if they are questioning spirituality and stuff like that, there's still a part of them that still has that trust in something higher than ourselves. So in a past life or past lives, you may have been persecuted for your spiritual or ethical beliefs. And now, so in this life, you may feel a little hesitant about embracing anything larger than yourself because when you did that in a previous life, you were persecuted. So you're very careful about showing your wisdom because you feel this could jeopardize your present position or the position of those who listen to you. So they're saying try to listen more to your inner voice, your intuition. And they said you could start with meditation, because they said a person with Jupiter retrograde might want to question meditation, but she said it's scientifically proven to help. And once you start to meditate, you'll learn how to more and more listen to your inner voice or your intuition to help you. Because I mean, that could be a great thing, especially in the money sector. Because with me, it's certain things I see that I know. You know, I could tell when somebody's sick. If I see a blue bird, always happens. I could tell what's going to happen in my life if I see a red bird. Today I was outside, and as soon as I went outside in my backyard, it was two black crows, and they saw me walking. They didn't even try to fly away. They just kept walking. And then when I turned back around after I had put something in the garbage can, they weren't in the same position, so I didn't know if they flew away or what. But then they both came on my porch, on the deck. And then whenever a bird comes on that deck like that, I know it's an animal message. So they both came on the deck for a little bit, and then they finally flew away. But that was definitely an animal message, and it was two of them. So personally, I know that was a twin flame message and stuff like that. Plus, I had a lot of very unique dreams last night. We're in a very unique time. I've been telling you guys that for a while. I got all that information posted on this channel, Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. See, I've learned the universe is always talking, always trying to help us. But just like they just said about the Jupiter retrograde, sometimes people keep doubting, or if something doesn't happen as fast as they want it to, or the way they think it should happen, they give up. They give up really. And if you were a Christian, they would tell you, "Oh, have faith." That's so you don't have any faith. So you're still dealing with the spirit realm. You're still dealing with things that are higher than ourselves. And sometimes you have to just learn how to do what you're supposed to be doing and have faith that all that stuff will work out, especially if you're doing what you're supposed to. But if you're looking around at somebody else and trying to find fault with them, then it's a good chance you're not getting yourself together. So that's why it's my job to continually remind people to take the information, apply it, personally apply it, and then watch how your life starts to improve based on as above, so below. All right, so that would be Jupiter retrograde in the second house. All right. Third house Gemini. And this is their true north node. Now, if you notice, they got 25 at Taurus, 25 degrees Taurus, and 25 degrees Gemini. Now, Gemini is all about the community, your siblings, short travel, creativity, multitasking, short distances, and the twins. Now, Gemini are great people, but they just don't like to go deep. And usually in relationships, especially twin flame relationships, they won't stay. Like if you see the Gemini energy, it's usually you're going to see separation because they're not really going to stay long. Like it's only through trials that they start to grow up, and then they have the character necessary to try to work it out and things like that. True North Node is your life purpose, why you're here. And it's also like for education, but it's for younger education. So we're going to do 25 degrees Taurus. Affectionate. This is 25 degrees Taurus. Affectionate, peaceful, and pleasant character. One is very good at soothing out rough edges and at helping people settle their disputes in a peaceful way. One finds happiness in accomplishing ordinary duties, appreciates peace at home, and shows tolerance in all fields. 25 degrees Gemini. Jealous, irascible, and aggressive character, reveling in fault-finding, violence, brawls, stubbornness. They're at the root of many a misfortune. One would be well advised to keep one's passions under control so that the generosity and loyalty promised by this degree can be fully expressed. So 25 degrees Gemini promises generosity, loyalty, but unfortunately, it also means jealous behavior, aggressive behavior, fault finding. Because remember, your Gemini, that's your communication house, the third house, ruled by Gemini. It's communications as well. So we got to watch how we handle our speech and how we speak with people. And it also said even stubbornness. It's funny that they said 25 degrees Gemini is stubbornness. You would think they would have said that for Taurus at 25 degrees. But usually they know. They know if your Gemini is at 25 degrees, they already know it's a good chance. That means where your Taurus would be. So that would be something we would need to work on, because as I just got finished saying, that Gemini energy represents the energy that usually breaks up twin flames and sends them into separation. Now, the fourth house is the house of family, ruled by Cancer, as you see. It's the house of teenage to adult education, land and property, real estate, family and ancestors, health and the heart, vehicles and travel or transportation, and whatever female or whoever raised this person when they were younger, whatever person raised them in a mother capacity, that's called Imam Coeli, and that usually deals with the moon and with Cancer, and it can deal with nurturing as well. But that person will be in this person's subconscious mind for this entire life. It's called Imam Coeli. Now when you move into the fifth house, now this is the one that's always going to be alert. Mars. Well, the fifth house is all ruled. It's all about fun, ruled by Leo. Love, romance, children, childlike behavior, childlike ways, having fun, traveling, resisting authority, taking chances. This is also a very creative house. Now, whenever you see Mars with Leo, it can mean abuse, like abuse to children. So you have to be very careful. Mars energy can also mean this person is very competitive, such as in sports. But you have to be very careful. Now, if you're on a ride with people and all of a sudden a big argument breaks out and you're looking around trying to blame somebody, sometimes when I see that in your natal chart, I would say Look at yourself first. Now, I'm not there. I can't guarantee that it was you because I'm not there. I don't know how the argument started. But I do know if you see Mars in Leo, that's somebody that's probably might even start a big argument. And while you're out, supposed to be having a good time. So that's something to think about. Because you don't want to lose friends and have family problems if you could just realize that maybe because of astrology, maybe it was me. Maybe I did overreact, or maybe I assumed, or maybe I'm still holding a grudge from four weeks ago or something that I didn't deal with yet. And then again, you could look at it and say, hey, it wasn't me. This person actually started that argument. I just responded. But it will be intense with Mars and Leo. But you have to be careful of the children. And now we'll do 13. But see, you see, now everybody looks. You see the 13. You see the 13 degrees Mars, and you also see the 13 degrees Aries. So this is a person that can get a little heated. Well, we're going to read both of those. And it even looks like you got some type of aspect there as well, because that almost looks like a right angle. So you got an aspect there as well between your EP and your Mars. So we'll do 13 degrees Aries first. Refined, faithful, and generous character, fully aware of one's worth. One is unanimously respected and stands on an equal footing with the powerful figures who grant their protection and trust. Success can be achieved in agriculture, especially wine growing, the art of cooking, the military, or the judiciary. Noble deeds are highly rewarded and attract numerous loyal friends. And that was 13 degrees Aries. Now how about 13 degrees Mars? I'm sorry, 13 degrees Leo. Unambitious, lazy, fatalistic character. One contents oneself with what is readily available instead of striving to develop one's intelligence and enhance one's skills. One always chooses the easy way out, and therefore one is looked down upon by one's entourage. Although one is born a rich person, since one is not interested in increasing the inherited wealth, life is mostly likely to end in poverty. In the image of the weedy wheel. And that's 13 degrees Leo. Okay, but again, when you see Mars and Aries, especially like that, this is a person that can fly off the handle. And you just have to be careful when it's dealing with kids. Because universally speaking, that's one of the worst things you can do is do things horrible to kids, because they're pretty much defenseless. Even, I mean, you might have it might be a rowdy kid or whatever, but it's a way to handle it. It's a way to handle everything. But you never want to approach it at an abusive way. And if you do, you should humble yourself and apologize. I think it's sad when parents get into it with their kids and they stay mad at them, like they hold grudges forever. And I know sometimes kids do the most horrible things, but you got to understand we're in horrible times too. It's a horrible spirit. It's a horrible everything. So sometimes you got to be the bigger person because you're still a parent and you owe it to that person to be forgiven and everything. Not holding grudges against them. And you haven't seen your son. Like both of you guys are now grown adults and you haven't seen your son in decades because of something he did when he was a teenager. I mean, that's a little extreme. Alrighty. Now we're going to move to your 6th house, which is all about healing. All about healing. Now this is the Virgo, the Virgin, the Mother Mary. Virgo, very good with details, very good with picking up details and finding things no other sign, nobody else can find. But Virgo has to be careful because they can be very critical, and they can't take it. But they like to dish it out. So you have to be very careful how you speak to people because it can come across as being very condescending, or critical. But the sixth house is all about health, healing, daily activities, small animals, small children, co-workers, and subordinates. And there's a lot of love there because you have Venus. And Venus is all about love and fun, forgiveness and diplomacy. And let's go out and be fashionable. So like I said, this person that we've already learned, probably very fashionable. Remember, Venus rules Taurus and Libra. So very fashionable, maybe even with the clothes on. They may have participated in Easter Sunday parades. Like out here, we have Easter Sunday parades. It's like a big fashion show and stuff. And they even have awards for the best dress and things like that. And you would see this in their home as well. Because we already found out from the first house or the second house with Taurus that they may even be kind of connected to furniture and things like that. But they're, you know, cultured, classy. This is all Venus. Can also be Sagittarius as well. Now, Uranus just means anything can happen. Anything sudden. Anything could happen. Innovative, very creative, innovative. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna do Pluto conjunct Uranus. So this person will be very sociable, generationally oriented. This conjunction is claiming is quite rare. Being made the last time around 1848, a time of social revolution in Europe and a time of great civil unrest and social change in Europe and America, and occurring again in the period of 1963 to 1968. And everybody knows that was a civil right movement to changes for the people here, who some often call African Americans. Now, if you go to myastrologybook.com and you look up Pluto, it's going to tell you that is the planet of the black people. So we can't make this up. We can't make this up. Now, on her chart, you have a lot of angelic stuff going on there. And you see the name Thomas. That's another very angelic name. Thomas is known for what? Electricity. A lot of it is. So these things are happening. Again, electricity, these sparks, flames, all different names for angels. So that's why I talk about things like this on my other channels as well. So I typed in Thomas Edison, and right away it said the light bulb, which is like a electric candle really, and angels are considered angels of light and candles. So you keep seeing a reference there. So you can, you know, some people are not ready to accept it, but it's still there. All right, so I have to bring it out to a certain degree. So, and that's all under the Virgin Mary, the Mother Mary and her angels. So this might have been September 23rd, 2017 might have been a big day for her as well, when everything lined up with Mother Mary And some people know Mother Mary as the Black Madonna with her little black baby. That's the way it used to be before other people came in and rewrote history. All right. So let us continue. So this person may have a concern for social issues. See, especially, I think, yeah, that's her sun sign, I believe, is Libra. So yeah, Libras definitely have a concern for fairness and social things. So you see it going on. So the person might be radical in some of their ways. And sometimes when you see a lot of Aries and Mars, it's there for a reason, so that they don't back down. I saw, I don't know if you guys know who Professor Griff is. Well, he used to be with the Public Enemy, the rap group. And he's always been radical, in your face, ain't backing down. He's still like that to this day, just a little older and wiser. Well, on his natal chart, his Mars is right. Like when you put the hand up, you go Black Power, because that's what they would always say. When you put your hand out like that, go Black Power. That's how his natal chart looks. Like when you extend your hand and go all the way up to the utmost, planet Mars is right there. When I saw that man's natal chart, I almost busted out laughing. I said, this dude was born to be a radical. So there are some tendency here, but it's for a good thing. It's for equal quality for all citizens, not just any certain race. And that's why she's got that Libra. And Libra is Mayat. Mayat. And again, that Mayat is really the spirit of Isis. And Isis is another name for Mother Mary. So we don't like to see these things, but these things are on our charts. And the faster people realize that, get back to who you really are, bring it all together. You know, and God makes it possible. But what happens is we don't care about all that. We just want to know why my boyfriend did. Is this my twin? And that's all we care about. So we turn off all the other stuff. And that's why we don't see the success we could see in our lives. Because our life is not just one person. You're here for a reason, a whole lot of stuff. Even her true north node is community, brotherhood. That's the third house. So you're here for a reason, not just... The twin is an aspect, but it's not the sole reason. Your twin soul is an aspect, but not the sole reason. Not the soul as soul. It's funny how I keep saying twin, like I'm still saying twin soul. Even though I mean soul as in only. It's still telling me soul as in person. I'm not saying they're not important, but you can't stop your whole life because you're not gonna get on with your true life purpose if you're constantly concentrating on that other person. Sometimes you have to move in your own direction before they start to follow you. But if you're always following them, it's like anybody. If anybody was always calling you and wanting to talk to you, you're not going to want to talk to them because they're going to be drowning you out. So you have to be careful. So what happens is this person may be part of a start. But again, this start takes a long time to assimilate. So that's why we said the word patience a little earlier. So he's saying it could actually take 100 years or hundreds of years to see changes in what's being done. So this person's individual life will be connected to the social life. Like that person can feel. It's like whenever you see it'll be a person that comes out and they'll have an overall appeal to not all, but a lot of people, a lot of different races. Say, why does this one person? They say because of aspects such as this one. And that's why they'll make you creative to me in real life. Somebody will write a song and everybody will get on it. You know, everybody will relate to it and feel like connected to that one person. And they use the word voice again because they were saying this person might be a singer or something. And I'm sure when he says singer, he could have even said a rapper or a poet. Because they keep saying that person's voice will actually connect with a society. So they say this person is going to be a transmitter of change. And that's important because that's what a true north node is. See, that's communication, Gemini, which could be transmitters. And that could be a symbolic transmitter or literal. They might use radio, airways, TV, internet. So this person would also be a visionary. All right, so that is the 6th house. So this person might have a great love for life, the holiness of life, the sacredness of life. They may have a relationship with the environment and the natural world. All right, so that is the 6th house. Whenever you see Pluto, you're going to be dealing with the 8th house as well, because Pluto rules Scorpio. So some of the things going on in that 6th house is going to also be affected in the 8th house as well. Now, definitely a relationship-minded person. It's her purpose in life. Now, Leos, believe me, Libras and Virgos are somewhat alike, because both of them can be somewhat in the fantasy world. And what do I mean by that? Like sometimes they have an ideal expectation of the person they're going to be in a relationship with, or they may have an ideal expectation of people. That's why I said you have to be very careful of that Mars and Leo, because when reality tries to knock on your door, you might respond in a very hyper, extreme, or even violent way, or you may actually push to cause the violence. That's why I said be very careful, because some people, like I know for a fact Virgos are. Some people, because I got Virgos all around me, have been Virgos all around me for well over 40 years. Some people are experts at manipulating a situation. So somebody might be a Mars and Leo energy, but they don't necessarily start the fight, but they can push you at your very last where you actually start the fight. But it's still, they don't want to basically lit that match. But but if you actually were to fire, you're going to carry that weight. So these are things you learn about astrology and people in the signs, but you have to be very careful because nobody's going to be perfect. And what happens with a Libra, they don't necessarily tell you how they're feeling. They'll accept you at first, and then and they're all happy and all supportive or whatever. And then once they start to see your reality, your flaws, they just start to withdraw from you, and you don't even know what's going on. But now they fall out of fantasy world, so now they're not that close with you, and your relationship is kind of drifting apart, and you don't even know why. So Libras have to work on finding a way to communicate. Virgo too, learning to communicate, but you also have to learn that nothing's going to be perfect. So before you dive into a situation, slow it down a little bit, because it's not going to be perfect. Home life's not going to be perfect. Whatever service you're in, the people you work with aren't going to be perfect. Whatever you're going on, nobody's going to be perfect, because what happens while you're trying to push this dogmatic perfection, because you think that's what God wants and everything else, you're actually isolating people from you. And again, that's still sparking the Mars Leo energy. So you don't want it like that. You want to realize people aren't perfect, and can we all get along? Can we agree to disagree? Things of that nature. And that's basically your Libra in the 7th house is all about relationships, partners, the law, the society around you, because Libras do try to get fairness in the society, social issues. These are things you want to keep in mind, and you're actually a good communicator in those areas, because that's what Mercury is. A good thinker too, an intellect, a creative person, maybe some type of leader, because that goes back to Aries. Remember I told you about your first house and now your 7th house. Now that cross you see is called the vertex cross, and that means you're going to find yourself in a relationship or a serious situation during this life with somebody that has that Libra or that lawful or that partnership or that relationship energy. And the sign of that person could either be Libra, Mercury, and when I say Mercury, Mercury rules Virgo and Gemini, or the Sun, any sun sign, any fire sign, because that's the Sun. So what we're going to look at now, when your 7th house is 9 degrees Libra. Wicked, careless, and stubborn character. Wild instincts should be fought since early childhood. This degree describes a child who is too pampered, or on the contrary, who is completely neglected. And the reason why I have to bring that out, because the 4th house, you see nothing in that 4th house. That's the family house. Completely neglected and left on their own devices. In both cases, there is a strong danger of troubles with the law. See, that's not good, because Libra does represent law. And the necessity to seek the help of a psychiatrist. However, one retains one's free will, and if one decides to stick to high moral standards, the misfortune portended by this degree can be avoided. So they're telling this person to use your free will, but use it to stick to higher moral standards, because otherwise you'll get yourself in trouble with the law. That's 9 degrees Libra. And then I think the next one was 14 degrees Libra. Ambitious, inventive, and active character, endowed with sharp intellectual capacities. One is deeply interested in literature, the arts, journeys, exploration, and scientific research, especially in all theories about force, light, cold, and waves. Now that force and that light, once again, going angelic, angels, and spirit. With great leadership abilities, one tactfully boosts friends and colleagues' self-confidence. One is stimulated by obstacles and overcomes them with PANACHE. Life is packed with joy, success, and honors. So sometimes it could mean that at the 8 or 9 degree, the 9 degrees might help them get to the 14 degree. But it kind of looks like at maybe earlier they're in a little bit of trouble. But by the time you get to that 14 degree, that sun, her sun sign, they've learned to really use these skills for the betterment of themselves and the people around them. But it seems like they have to go through a little bit before they get there, just like most people do. All right, this 8th house is a very psychic house, so we're really going to go in there. All right, now, going into the 8th house. And remember, when you saw that vertex cross, that vertex in the 7th house, again, that is important meetings in life, possible important breakups. It could be a soul meeting. It could be a karmic relation, karmic meeting, karmic situation. Could be your twin soul. So I gave you enough information to identify it. when it comes in your life, if it hasn't already come in your life. All right, so the first thing, well, let's do it this way. This is going to be a good one. Moon conjunct Neptune. Moon conjunct planet Neptune. Both of them want to take it. Astromatrix and myastrologybook.com. Two of my favorites. Because this is your house. This is the 8th house. This is the powerful house. We'll talk all about Scorpio. You are very impressionable, open and sensitive where your feelings are concerned. You tend to be mystical and intuitive. See, a lot of stuff we're reading, you'll see a lot of that in New York. A lot of that in Harlem, New York. A lot of mystical people in tune with their Egyptian connections. Possibly their past life secrets and mysteries. This is all coming out the 8th house. You will have experiences that are visionary or just plain escapist, depending on your self-honesty and level of evolution. Because they call Neptune a deceiver. He's an idealistic. But sometimes we don't live in an idealistic world. So that's why your Virgo, your Libra, and now your 8th house, Neptune and Scorpio, you have to be careful. And unfortunately, we see a lot of these people when they're younger, especially say in the 1980s and stuff and before that, a lot of these young people, they get involved with a religion or something, but the religion might be a cult, or they start following people and they get exploited. They get sexually assaulted. All this is this energy we're talking about right now. And a lot of these people join the army at an early age, and then they're led to do stuff they normally wouldn't have done, because you're only like in your 20s. And you're looking up to people who you think are great people and good people, but they don't give a F. But you don't know that yet. You don't know how the world really operates yet. So you got Neptune, deception, a lot of idealism. And you'll do anything, because before you know it, you're caught up. Now, there's a female that used to play on Smallville. And as you see, she's in trouble now because of the same thing. Very impressionable woman. She probably meant well, but she got with this guru, started believing all that stuff. Oh, he's a man of God, and God speaks through him. And everything. So you think it's okay to do things you shouldn't be doing. You start obeying a human rather than God. And next thing you know, you've done some horrible things. So now you're getting the reasons why behind it, and you're seeing it in the natal chart as well, and what not to do and how to avoid it. Pagan's Path says that Neptune and Scorpio is one of the most dangerous combinations. sign placements, house placements, because it's all about escapism and basically fantasy world. This person will want to be totally free in the way you relate and in your self-expression. You may feel or actually be persecuted by the prevailing moral standards. So you may feel that you're being persecuted because you want to just go. In this incarnation, you are learning to let go of emotional reactions to life through many disappointments and disillusionment. Because that's what's going to happen. Now, that was a young female, only 21. She went into service, and they had her persecuting prisoners locked up. They were making fun of them and dehumanizing them. And so the powers that be found out, and they, put some of them people in jail, demoted them and things. And her family was saying she would never do anything like that. We don't understand. No, she was young and very impressionable, and she's thinking these older people or senior in commands knew more than she did. So that's how you get caught up. And that's why when you hear me, when I can be who I am, because I already been there. I already did all this when I was in my 20s. When you hear the way I talk that way for a reason. I teach people to stand on both your feet. But sometimes people like to stand on one foot or whatever, and they like to blame other people for what they do. And it doesn't matter who you blame. When you stand before God, you're going to be held responsible for what you did. So when you get your profile, this is what they're trying to tell you. When you get your natal chart read or analyzed by people who know what they're doing, not just somebody who's going to lie to you, just take your money and talk about love, but you're not getting the truth. And love can be evasive too. There can be good things about love, bad things about love. There can be painful things about love. So tell the truth. Don't just say love, love, love so you can cash in on the person. So that's what I mean about manipulating these idealistic people. So I'd rather be viewed as somebody that's more hardline and tells you the truth than somebody who's just using you and manipulating you. It says these painful experiences function to direct your attention within yourself rather than to continue searching for the outer world for your ideas or love of freedom. And that's what happened to me. I knew you could not rely on anything human to explain God to you. You have to go to God yourself. And God is very real and very ready to talk to you. Now they also say that. Now that was myastrologybook.com. Now this is Astro Matrix. You are very psychic and quiet as well, unless there's a strong Mercury, Gemini, or Sagittarius in your chart. Now your Mercury is in your house, your 7th house. Your Gemini is in your 3rd house. Sagittarius in your 9th house. And once again, it's funny how he should say that, because you keep seeing your partner. Because your Mercury is in Libra, your 7th house. That's your possibly your soulmate or twin soul. Twin soul, the same soul, different bodies. Soulmate is anybody in your soul family. And then when you have your Sagittarius, you see Juno, which represents serious relationships. So obviously this person is going to help you along your way with your communications. And possibly with your growing up. Because Sagittarius is the more mature energy. And they said you might not be quiet if you have a strong Mercury, Gemini, or Sagittarius. Well, where yours is, it's all about the twins. Gemini is the twins. Mercury is in your relationship, so that's still 2 of the twins. And Juno is in your Sagittarius, which is still 2, the twins. So that person will definitely help you talk more, express yourself more. And I'm not saying this is the case, but sometimes when you meet somebody and you guys are arguing, but it's also still helping you talk more, express yourself more. Because I know God smacked me around continually. Now I'll fight the biggest to the smallest. Nobody's going to silence me. And this is what people don't understand. Why? That's why it makes me laugh, because they talk about astrology, but they just want to use astrology for selfish reasons. And you'll never be blessed by the universe when you use astrology for selfish reasons. That's like stealing from the universe. You got to find out your overall chart, not just certain locations and all that immature stuff. But those people find out the hard way. A friend of mine did that. He met somebody, it was the vertex. Oh, this is my soulmate, and blah, blah. All he wanted to know was that one house. I said, hey, dude, you got 12 houses on your chart. Why don't you do all 12 houses so you can find out if this person is for you or not? And he didn't want to listen. Hard-headed dude. So after just 2 months of being with his, quote, soulmate, unquote, they're already having problems, already broken up. So he did come back, though. He did come back and had his whole chart done. A few of them after that. But it took that burn to make him see, I know what I'm talking about. And I'm just saying, it might have been better off if they just slowed down. Because I try to tell them you're moving too fast. And if you move too fast in anything, it's a good thing you're going to run it down. So we all learn, though. We're all out here to learn one way or another. Give me one moment. My pen cap came off. Trying to get it back. All right. There are strange and hard to understand experiences in your domestic and family life. Your body is a delicate one, and as an infant or child, you may have had health problems. Now, one thing about Scorpio is about health, but it's also about healing as well. You have a negative reaction to drugs of all kind, including anesthesia. It's best to wait until your Neptune is well aspected by transit if you have to have it. So if you have to have anesthesia, they're advising you to make sure your Neptune is well aspected by the transit chart. Now what we're looking at now is a natal chart, but a transit chart or a space chart looks a lot like a natal chart, but the natal chart has to do solely with you, your birth. A transit chart is what's ever going on in space now. So they say you will be a very artistic and inspirational person. So that means this person's here for a reason. A lot of your stars, your musicians and artists, they have these type of combinations on the chart that we're talking about. You find yourself attracted to music and art. Again, I'm at astromatrix.org. Your career, however, is more likely to be in helping or serving the public, because that's that whole Libra thing going on. Maybe a little Gemini there. A little Virgo in the 6th house. You find the past, tradition, and all that is historical very romantic, and the ideal world of yesteryear seems to beckon and call. Any Fred Astaire over there? How about a little bit of Ginger Rogers? How about a little West Side Story? Tony. Others find you interesting and always able to draw them into your world of images and dreams. You can inspire them with spiritual ideas. This conjunction emphasizes emotional sensitivity and vulnerabilities to others, especially through an impressionable, sympathetic, psychic empathy. So you're an empath. So you have to be careful, because that means you can suck up other people's energy. And that's not always good. And that's why I have to back people up sometimes, because people are quick to push their energy your way, especially if they can do it for free. They don't mind dumping all their energy your way, and now you're burnt out. So you got to be careful of energy vampires, and you have to set boundaries. Like when you deal with your 12th house and sometimes with your 8th house, it does have to do with helping people, but not helping them so much that they drain you. It has to be about everything you do in life has to be a balance. It's all about that Libra energy. It's all about that yin and the yang. The nature of your environment will be highly influential in affecting your inner balance and well-being. So ideally, you need to live and work within suitable places and with suitable people, just like I just told you, or else you may discover that your spirit and vitality begin to wane through absorbing what are negative influences on your sensitivity. And if you do business like mine, you will see a lot of people navigate to you, but most of them are coming to drain you one way or another. You have to be very careful. As your heart is so open to experience life, it is equally likely to experience suffering, anguish, and disappointment. So unfortunately, sometimes we can't get past the pain of life, and that's why twin flame relationships can be so painful. Sometimes soulmate relationships can be so painful. Evolving ways of self-protection or essential filters to this sensitivity may be necessary over time, and that's what I was telling you. Otherwise, life could become too painful for you. So I just told you, and we'll probably talk about it more when we get in your 12th house. Your 8th house and your 12th house are a lot alike. And see, you have Neptune in your 8th house, and Neptune rules Pisces. Pisces rules your 12th house. So you got a lot of 8th and 12th house stuff going on. Through your innate understanding and sympathetic attitudes, you are likely to become a listener and confident to others' problems. But again, these may be your gifts. So I'll tell you what the Archangel taught me. I went for decades just giving. So when I finally met these Archangel cards, that was the first thing they told me. They said I have bad karma. I said, how can I possibly have bad karma when all I do is help people? They said, you have bad karma because all you do is give and never give back. And then they began to tell me what to do, which I began to do. And some people appreciated that, and others got hit with a reality check. And to this day, they continue to get hit with reality checks. It's give and receive and give. Don't let somebody just burn you out, because they'll keep on going. You'll be in a crazy house, and they'll still be out here making the same dumb mistakes they were making before they ever met you. So be very careful. Yet a degree of detached and personable objectivity needs to be developed, or else you will take their problems and pains away with yourself. So you have to detach them. Like I've always been gotten stalked since I was little. I've always had problems with people stalking me because they're trying to tap into the energy. So I have to tell people. And one person tried to do it recently, and I had to tell that person, what I do online stays online. I don't need to know where you're at. They've tried to come and see me numerous occasions, always trying to. I let them know immediately, oh no, what I do online stays online. This will never be like offline, so you don't even have to worry yourself with that. So that's the detachment they're talking about. And they said you have to be detached and impersonal. And again, I'm at astromatrix.org. Business is business, personal is personal. We don't mix the two. My name's not Sweetie, ladies. My name's not Jersey Dude. Okay, if I don't know you personally, there's no need for you to be becoming so impersonal. Business is business. Friendship is friendship. Two different areas. You got to make careful because you don't know who you're talking to. And until you know, be very careful, because this is why people end up getting raped and stuff like that, like I just said earlier. They didn't know how to set boundaries in their lives. You have to set boundaries. This is a very dark world. It's a very mean world. And right now, Jupiter retrograde is in Scorpio. So you got to be careful. A lot of stuff is going on. That's why you see a lot of people getting exposed and being sent to jail. Yet a degree of detached and personal objectivity needs to be developed, or else you will take their problems and pains away with yourself. This is not a sacrifice that needs to be made, even though you are rightly willing to offer aid and assistance to those in need. So the advice he's giving you for your 8th house, believe it or not, is going to be the same advice you're going to hear in the 12th house. You should help out, but not so much that you're sacrificing or martyring yourself. The best way you can help people is to show them how to do it on their own and encourage them to do so. It may be that you are attracted towards employment in the spheres of social welfare and care, where you can serve deprived people and encourage them to take steps of advancement. And that's most important, how to take steps to advancement, not just lay back and wait for somebody else to get it. Certainly the compassionate heart will be a main motivating factor in your life, and it's probably through such a route that you can most easily display your most natural qualities and abilities. Your influence can have a beneficial and catalytic effect on others, stimulating them towards their either personal growth or resolving problems. Employment which fixes you in a repetitive, mundane work pattern will not be satisfying to you, and will ultimately be a denial of your talents and abilities. It is easy to recognize when you are struck in the wrong place. Now, just to make sure you know, Neptune and Scorpio can be one of the most dangerous placements, and a lot of that has to do with escapism, drugs, and alcoholism, and things like that. So be very careful, because they do have long-term effects on your health and your brain cells and everything else. Now we're going to do Moon in Scorpio. So this is definitely a very psychic person. Spiritual, discerning, dreams. All that's from Neptune. Psychic with the moon. An emphatic person, in touch with other people's energies and emotions. This is ScorpioLand.org. Moon in Scorpio. First time I've ever used this website. Alright, they're not really explaining it. They're talking about a whole lot of other stuff, so I don't want to look at this. I want somebody to give me an explanation. This one's called Metaphorical Platypus. And I may not use this one either. We'll see. Give me a second. That's a lot of information. Moon in Scorpio, a person who is self-reliant, strong, passionate by nature. They live life at a higher level of intensity and is driven to explore the mysteries of life. These people are tough and resilient, and that's why they got that strong Aries. Able to face change and adversity with courage and turn bad luck to their advantage in the long run. The lunar Scorpio is ambitious, persistent, determined, and forceful, with a powerful personal magnetism. And that's what I mean. People are going to be attracted to it. She probably already knows that. Leadership ability usually comes with this placement. I've already said that. Unless the sun and ascendant are in fire or air signs, the Scorpio moon person tends to be an introvert, preferring to work alone and seeking out a small group of close friends rather than acquiring a large circle of friends. Well, the main thing we know is that that person, that soulmate, is going to help them with a lot of being able to talk, a little bit of self-confidence, a little bit of taking what's inside of oneself and bringing it out. They're self-reliant survivors. Scorpio moon people are usually good in crisis and are often at their best when situations are at their worst. In difficult circumstances, the Scorpio strength and courage come to the fore, enabling them to perform well under pressure. They seek to understand life's mysteries. These mysteries may be explored directly via scientific inquiry or indirectly through occult studies or spiritual pursuits. Many Moon and Scorpio people experience events that are not easily understood by science, such as predictive dreams or connections with the afterlife. And right now the Moon is in Pisces, so people's dreams are going crazy. Again, I'm talking about that on this channel. And they are all in my most latest video that I just did today. And they are often drawn to ideas and experiences that frighten other people. You're a weirdo. Get away from me. Scorpio Moon people are also able to understand human psychology. They are extremely intuitive about the emotions of others, and they are good at getting people to confide their secrets. So again, that could be your calling as well. helping people with the supernatural. Kind-hearted lunar Scorpios use this knowledge to provide comfort and practical assistance when needed. But an unethical Scorpio moon person may explore it to take advantage of other people's weaknesses. And that's what you see. That's what you see going on YouTube. But the sad thing is that people want to be taking advantage of weakness. All you have to do is talk to them like a baby and keep your cash register flowing. And if you keep lying to them, they'll keep coming back. They don't want to grow up. I don't want to grow up. I want to stay with Toys R Us, YouTube, being lied to, kid. There is a tendency towards extremes whenever a Scorpio is prominent in the natal chart. So this is where your extremes would be. And so Scorpio moon people tend to experience profound loves and hatreds rather than seemingly perceiving others as either pleasant or irritating. So this is going to either profound love or profound hatred. This trait is particularly evident in relationships with women, both romantic and platonic, because you experience intense emotions. They said that even though a Scorpio moon person has extreme emotions, they're in firm control of their emotions when others are watching. But this person is probably going to be prone to jealousy, rage, and anguish, which means just making shit up sometimes. Oh yeah, both of them, Neptune and Scorpio, were two of the most suspicious signs. And like they'll make, like if they have to decide what happened, it's going to be bad. Both of them are like that. So in that way, this is a very dangerous placement. But they said just like they can feel rage and anguish and suspicions. But Scorpio is very psychic though. So sometimes their intuition is right. Like the feelings they get or their premonitions, whatever they get, sometimes it is right. But sometimes it's not. But a Scorpio can figure out stuff they shouldn't know. So if you were in a relationship with a Scorpio and you did something you shouldn't have did, it's a way they're going to know. Even if you don't think they should know, somehow they will know what happened to a good degree. But they also experience feelings of euphoria. So many of these people have a secret sorrow related to their families or childhoods. But again, that's why you have the 8th house and the 12th house, because you're supposed to deal with this. You're supposed to find somebody somewhere to help you heal, because otherwise you're going to go through this whole life carrying it. And like I said, your children might be victimized by what you went through, or because of what you went through. Scorpio moon people can be secretive and difficult to know. Very mysterious people. They hide their true feelings from others, and they can't stand to show vulnerability or risk another person having power over them. A hedonistic streak combined with a tendency to suppress feelings also increases the risk of addiction. Rejection and betrayal seem to hit Scorpio moon people harder than others, and they are unlikely to forgive or forget. Now I want everybody to understand, because there's different ways. Now you're learning a lot about the moon in Scorpio, but there's another reading that I'll offer is the moon sign. The reason why it's different in this one, because it's taking the current transit chart, the current space chart, and we're going by wherever that moon is, and whatever signs, whatever astrological signs are related to this, we study those. And whatever houses are related to that, we study that. And that's why when Brother D requested his moon sign, I knew he had a third party in his life, and he did. But that was because of the moon. I wouldn't have found out, because I never knew that on his regular natal chart reading. There's no way you could know that. You got to go by. I tell you, the planets and everything are changing constantly. So everything around you is always going to be changing. That's why I offer these things that I offer. That's the reason. All right, now it says rejection and betrayal seem to hit Scorpio moon people harder than others, and they are unlikely to forgive or forget. That's another thing about Scorpios. Very unforgiving, and they get you back. And you won't even know if they're mad. See, with that Virgo, they hold a lot of stuff in. Libra holds a lot of stuff in, and now you got the Scorpio. So you got to, what I'm trying to say, when you say you want to be in a relationship, that's what the word really means. It doesn't mean, oh, love me unconditionally. Oh, I know I got some issues, but you're supposed to love me. No, you have to work on both ways. Lately, I've been talking about the whole John Cena and Bella. Nikki Bella. Now, John's got a lot of pain from loving before and getting burned, and he's trying to protect himself. But the way he's doing it is so harmful and hurtful to her emotionally. But the fact of the matter is, he has a right to feel hurt because he got burnt for being a nice guy the first time. So these are people that have to talk, and they failed to do that. They didn't really talk to understand each other to see how they wanted to proceed. And that's why it ended up now with them separated. And it's horrible when you're with somebody that long and have done so much with them, and now you're not even going to get married at this time. But that could have been avoided, again, by opening up, talking. You can't be hiding stuff and holding stuff in, male or female. So this is what I mean about the immature stages of your human journey. And I'm here to challenge you. This is why the true North Node is in Leo. I'm here to challenge you to break the mold and find out why you're here, find out what your purpose is, and to start to have the courage. Because we can heal. Any one of us can heal. You're not the only person that got hurt. I got hurt too. My family was dysfunctional. But you can stay in that mold and use it as an excuse all you want. But the only person you're really hurting is yourself and the people around you. See, John didn't come out of his pain. Therefore, he could never really be there for Nikki. And what she needed, he could never satisfy because he's still trying to protect his own heart. So he's not really worrying about hers as much as he is his. So rejection and betrayal seem to hit Scorpio moon people harder than others, and they are unlikely to forgive or forget. Resentful of those they believe have slighted them and inclined to hold grudges. Not only hold grudges, they find a way to get revenge. Scorpio moon people can be vindictive unless the sun or ascendant is in a more peaceable sign. Let's just say Scorpio moon people can be vindictive. Let's not try to get it out of it. Without lunar Scorpios, a kindness is never forgotten. Well, with lunar Scorpios, a kindness is never forgotten, and it is likely to be repaid tenfold. Oh, that's beautiful. But the same goes for cruelty. But it doesn't have to be cruelty if you just upset them or break their heart. Due to this tendency, Scorpio moon people like loyal, supportive friends and fierce enemies. They should say, and they have fierce enemies. Oh. Due to this tendency, Scorpio moon people make loyal, supportive friends, but they also make fierce enemies. So let's rewrite this. So their lives are often characterized by emotional drama, either their own or those around them. Easily bored with anything superficial or lukewarm, they seek to forge deep connections with others, high-intensity people, even when these connections are volatile and traumatic. So they were like a psycho. They were because they like it deep, they'll mess around with like a crazy person, even though they know it's not healthy. But they'll do it because they like deep stuff. Like, why are you with him? You know he's crazy. You know he's gonna stalk you. You know he's going to be making death threats, but you're with him anyway. Given the association of Scorpio with death and rebirth, that's why. Because Scorpios and Pluto, they like death and rebirth. Given the association of Scorpio with death and rebirth, it is unsurprising that Scorpio moon people seek high-intensity experiences and often make sweeping life changes, particularly when under stress. Rarely content with halfway measures, the Scorpio moon person will often overturn their life and burn some or all of their bridges if they feel the need to renew themselves. Well, you got to respect that, though. When you got it okay, but you burn it, you deliberately destroy it. So the Scorpio moon is a lot like the Phoenix bird. They're not afraid to restart. Emotional insecurity. And remember, where your Cancer is, your 4th house. See, that moon rules Cancer. So whatever in your 4th house is in your 8th house as well. And that's your Moon Coeli. That nurturing, but also the motherly figure. Emotional security for the lunar Scorpio comes through establishing a loving partnership, a platonic friendships, or platonic friendship where he may be sure of the other person's loyalty. Fiercely protective of those he cares about, the Moon and Scorpio person is inclined to risk greater danger to ensure the safety and happiness of those around him. her. That was interesting. All right. Now, I usually read what's in the 8th house, but to me that was very informative. So I'm not going to read it now because it takes like a nice amount of time to read all that stuff. So we're going to save that to the end. When we get done with the 12th house, we'll read it then. But now we're going to proceed to the 9th house. And remember, where your Pluto is, whatever's going on in your 6th house is also affected by whatever we read in the 9th house. Okay, now, Sagittarius is the higher self. It's also long distance travel. It's art and culture, religion and philosophy, anything foreign, anything long, and it's ruled by Jupiter. So this could also mean good fortune. So again, you're going to meet somebody. Juno means you'll probably have a serious relationship with that Sagittarius type energy. And Pallas helps you see patterns. So those things I just named in your 9th house, Pallas will help you see patterns. Now, your 10th house is very critical. Why? Because Lilith means scandal in the 10th house. And medium Coeli also means your career. So where your true north node is, medium Coeli is showing you another aspect of your true north node. Your true north node is to be communicating, and now your career is saying it. So again, this could be a Sunday school teacher, some type of teacher, but they're dealing with like young-minded. It doesn't have to be young kids though, because a lot of adults are young-minded. And this is why on YouTube so many people are successful out here, because they baby grown adults and grown adults like it. So that's what that means. This is younger energy, younger minded. But this person will have some type of career doing that. And that also deals with their career and their reputation. And that's Capricorn, ruled by Saturn. Now your 11th house is an easy one because my 9th house is your 11th house. That is Saturn retrograde. So this person will be no nonsense as far as helping others, because your 11th house is about friends, association, and groups. And Aquarius is ruling that house, and that's about the community of people. But they have a no-nonsense approach. But what they do, they take information for the masses, but they make it easy. So they take things that would be hard to understand, and they actually make it easy for the community or the masses. But they just have a no-nonsense approach, and that's exactly what I do. So that's on my natal chart in my 9th house. So you also have Curious the Nurturer in your 10th house, and that's just about nurturing. So be careful your little, because this is a person who will engage in scandalous activity right at the job, like it turns them on. But they get caught. So they could end up getting disciplined by their job. They could lose a position, lose bonuses. They could lose their job for doing something scandalous at the place of employment, or representing your company while you're representing something that really doesn't help the company with its image. So they have to get rid of you. So be careful of that. So we're going to go 7 degrees Capricorn. Gentle, distrustful, and withdrawn character. One seems to be detached from worldly concerns and has lost confidence in human nature. After several disappointments in love and friendship, it is in solitude and meditation that one finds solace. Matters of intellectual and spiritual nature are of major importance in one's solitary work. So your 10th house is a lot like your 12th house, because your 12th house is about solitary. Time alone to meditate, time alone to get your head together, time alone to grow spiritually, and hopefully not to go into depression, because a lot of people in the 12th house grow into depression and even suicidal tendencies. And that can happen with Neptune and Pisces, Neptune and Scorpio. But that is still Pisces, because Neptune rules Pisces. Alright, so you got a 28-degree Aquarius. Carefree, lazy, and whimsical character owing to systematic procrastination. Many good opportunities are wasted, and when eventually one decides to take action, all the best places have been taken by more determined persons. This is really a pity, because one has all the qualities required for achieving success in agriculture and all careers related to catering and food processing. But again, like for business, it's not always good, because like I said, people really want you to talk to them like they're a kid. And they don't like it if you tell them the truth. So if you got the gift of gab and you just want to sit here and hear all these sad stories and act like you really care, when you really don't, but it's just business, because that's what you see out here. See, where I come from, it's just people told you like it was. See, I'm from a different era where somebody says, get up, put on your boots and pull the bootstraps up. You know, and I understand everybody can't be that way, but you also can't sit there crying whiny baby and sleeping around with everybody because you feel you owe it. You owe it to yourself. And I'm also spiritual, so I know there is a place called hell for people like that. So the hard truth has to be told. That's Saturn retrograde. See, that Saturn retrograde, like for me, I'm not going to back down from telling the truth. And if they want to run, then that's up to them. That's between them and their future destiny. But it's my job, that's why I got the gifts I got. I got the gifts to tell the truth. And it's more important I tell the truth and not worry about, oh, I need this, I got to get that. Oh, I let the universe work that out. All right, now we get into your spirit. This is the spiritual 12th house, because you have Pisces in your 12th house, but you also have Vesta retrograde and Chiron retrograde. Now, ironically, see, we gotta be careful here. So your 12th house is Pisces, so you have to follow your Pisces back to where your Neptune is. That takes you back to your 7th house. So whatever we said about that 7th house, because somehow you have a wound that won't heal. Chiron retrograde is a wound that won't heal, and it has something to do with your Pisces Neptune energy. So it has something to do with that 8th house. Now, why this is going on? Because they're dealing, in my opinion, they're dealing with two different lives, a past life and a present. Whenever you see your house, like if you see your first house, but it's really in your 12th house or close to it, but they're calling it your first house, it's because you didn't deal with, this is what I be telling people about past lives. You didn't deal with it in the last life. So now in this life, you got two 12 houses. That's really what that is. So you have two 12 houses. One is your new life, this life, present life with Aries, and one is with Pisces. And then that goes back to your 8th house, which they're kind of saying is your 7th house. So it's definitely relationship related, that Chiron retrograde. So now that's some of the wounds you have to get healed, is the Chiron retrograde wounds for probably past relationships. But then you have Vesta. Now what's important with Vesta is that whenever you see Vesta close to Saturn, even though they're in two different houses, but the implication whenever you see Vesta with Saturn is Vesta is fighting against Saturnian energy. Because Saturn energy can be kind of abusive. Especially when you see Saturn retrograde. Can be kind of abusive. So Vesta doesn't like that. So Vesta will oppose Saturn. So that could be the case there as well. But just to get a little bit of insight, we're going to do 3 degrees Pisces. Reflective, beneficial, benevolent, and inventive character endowed with gifts for occultism. Because your 12th house, like I said, your 12th house is a lot like the 8th house. The 8th house is more hidden, but the 12th house, you're supposed to come out. You're supposed to heal and come out. The only way you're going to heal is to bring it out. Your 12th house is a house of reckoning, but it's also your final house, and it's also a house of endings, and karma. So 3 degrees Pisces, one is a loner and works best in the silence and the calm of secluded places. And the 12th house does have to do seclusion and privacy, isolation. Success and wealth can be achieved in a host of disciplines, among which religion, philosophy, the arts, the craft, industry, natural healing, research, etc. The natal chart shows which occupation is most suitable. That's 3 degrees Pisces. (15 degrees Pisces). All right. I want to recheck 3 degrees and make sure it was 3 degrees Pisces. Give me a moment. Yes, it was. Okay, 15 degrees Pisces. Caring, shrewd, and vigilant character, driven by strong paternal instincts. One does not hesitate to dedicate one's intellectual and financial resources to the success of one's children. With determination, patience, and tenderness, one works hard to ensure that they have a bright future. This degree also describes a very protective and understanding leader. So your 12th house has a lot to do with you helping other people. (25 degrees Pisces). Serious, courageous, and fair character endowed with a vivid imagination and literary talents. One can achieve success in careers related to education, law, and publishing. And that's why you have that strong Gemini, which is your true north node, your life purpose, some form of publishing. This degree indicates that law prevails over force and that intelligence can defeat sheer might. All right, now we're going to look at good fortune in Pisces. Because that circle with the X to it is called good fortune, but it's also called part of fortune. The person with good fortune in the 12th house has a unique opportunity to transform or dissolve their own karma. This is a person who has a mediumistic talent and gift of prophecy. So these are the gifts the person has. Their dreams give them answers. Their flair for spirituality, mysticism, illusion, and fantasy can be productive in film, television, and works of fiction. So if you started writing, you will really do well in those fields. Though he may not know it when it happens, his enemies will frequently change their attitude from hostility to neutrality, and sometimes even to benevolence. He is generally unaware of his good fortune. The person with his good fortune in the 12th house is treated well by the healthcare profession. So you'll do well when dealing with healthcare professionals. Now, good fortune in Pisces. This person is spiritual and mystical. They find happiness and success by concentrating on higher ideas. Alright, so now we just need that Vesta retrograde. Anywhere where you see Vesta, that means slow down, because this is where you'll burn out. This is where you put a whole lot of energy to it, and if you don't know how to slow down, you're gonna burn out. So that's what I keep trying to tell you. Don't let people steal your energy from you. Learn how to set boundaries, and don't work so hard to help people that you sacrifice yourself. Because that's all what the 12th house is about. And Vesta's trying to warn you as well. Alright, we're just going to look at this real quick. This is Astrology for Dum-Dums at Tumblr.com. Okay, Vesta is going to help you with unconscious fears, suppression, and persecutions. There are also the potential to become a bridge between the unconscious and conscious world, which can bring much self-discovery and mysticism. So when you are some type of teacher or counselor, you are bridging the two different worlds. Some form of medium. Vesta will help you too. Like if you're doing something and it's detrimental, Vesta will help you to grow and learn. Like I was saying earlier, how people don't know any better and they're very idealistic and they come out here. So Vesta will make sure you learn your lesson. Like she'll make sure you get burned. She'll make sure you get really hurt, because that's the only way you're going to learn never to do that again. That's why I said the Bible points you in the right direction, but you still got to have other sciences, other things, because you're not going to know. Otherwise, you'll think getting smacked in the face, oh, I'm just supposed to take it. Smack me again. And there's some people that really think being tortured or having pain is pleasing to God. So you got to really go. It's a process you're learning. The more you learn, the more you realize what to do. All right. And also, if you see Vesta retrograde, it could imply health conditions as well. So it's advisable to know what the 12th house health conditions are. All right, give me a moment. All right, give me one moment. Okay, according to this website called Future Samakra, Samacrah, the 12th house. Let me just make sure. I'm probably gonna read this. So this is Vedic astrology. So she's saying you can use your natal chart to know about the nature and timing of disease, and that way you can take preventive messages. Now I already said where I'm at, so you already should know where I'm at. It says the 12 houses of the horoscope, starting anti-clockwise, relate to the first house, self and body; second house, wealth; third house, enterprise and siblings; fourth house, home and comforts; fifth house, progeny, or I guess they mean like sixth house, disease and injury. So whatever we said about your sixth house, remember whatever we said, because it's a possibility there might be injury there as well. But that is your health house. Seventh house is spouse, which I want to change that to partner, because it's not always your partner. It's not always your spouse in the seventh house. Eighth, he says longevity and death. Now the eighth house has a lot of stuff, but we're gonna go back to that soon. Ninth house is luck. I'm going to change that to fortune and travel. Fortune, travel, and expansion possibly. Tenth house, profession and status. 11th house, they say, are gains. 12th house is losses. I'm just going to say 12th house, I'm going to say subconscious and fears. Not necessarily going to say losses. Subconscious. All right, now we go back to this. I was actually looking for something else, but all right, so let's go back. Oh, so the 12th house deals with your feet, but that doesn't mean that's the only location. Because remember, when people start have heart trouble, it'll be their feet. Sometimes it'll be their legs, their heart. First heart is head and body. Yes. Fifth house is Leo. Well, the fourth house and the fifth house deal with your heart, and it could be other stuff too. Eighth and 12th house are gonna be subconscious. All right, so we'll continue. All right, so basically that's what you. This is the day of reckoning, and it's also ending. So really, it's taking you primarily back to your eighth house. It's a lot of stuff in there that you have to come to reckon with. So you have to come to reckon with Scorpio concerns, Neptune concerns, Scorpio, Pisces concerns. Neptune concerns. All right. But again, this is a highly psychic person. You know, you're going to be having premonitions, past life reminders. It's going to be all around them. Like the universe is really going to be trying to communicate with them. And all kind of weird stuff. Probably portals. That's why let me give you an example. Some people can understand this, some people can't. But on a chart like this, I'm gonna share something with you. Now I did a long video last night. Long video. Took me like 3.5 hours. I haven't posted it yet. And that was a weird video. I just kept looking for answers. So I kept going until I got what I was looking for. I wasn't gonna give up. So to make a long story short, but do some what I've talked about in other videos. Like I said, I got other channels in this one. But I showed it out here. But I was basically led to go to this location tomorrow, actually. Almost like by supernatural confirmation. But I've been doing this for a long time, so I know. Always proceed with caution. Even when if you were a Bible reader, you would know that Apostle Paul warned that too. It's going to be a whole lot of powerful stuff. Just because something is powerful doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean it's supposed to work for you. It might actually take you out of here. It might actually put you in a bad situation with the one who can give you life. These are things you have to know. These are all universal laws. Has nothing to do with, oh, that's just your belief. No silly stuff. This is real stuff. So I was like, you know, it was all clear to go. And I was thinking, you know, I will go, but that reading I had was real deep. And I kept going to different places, getting more insight, because I really wasn't getting the answers I was looking for. Eventually, I finally did get the answers. So I'll tell you two things first. Well, something happened before I went to bed, but now it's almost 3 o'clock in the morning. But I'll talk about that. So then, when I went to sleep, it was just all kind of crazy stuff. My health was acting up. It was just a whole lot of stuff that happened. But I'm doing this all the time, so I know how to fight my way through it and all that. So I did it. I just thank God. I'm very thankful to God. Because it was just too much going on. But one thing that happened and really... See, that place where I was supposed to go is right in front of the apartment I used to be in. And I was there with this female for 8 years. So, for some reason, she kept coming in this dream, and this other female that was associated with her. And they just kept coming in my dreams. I've never had that happen. Like, everything kept repeating about them. Everything kept repeating. And usually if you wake up or something, you'll start dreaming about something else. Nope, if I woke up, as soon as I went back to sleep, I was dreaming about them again. I never had stuff like this happen before. I literally got up, I was like awake, walked around and everything, went back to bed. They popped right back again. So I said, whoa, God, this is too creepy for me. And I said, whoa. But I want you to know, I've been warning you all about the moons. See, everybody's playing games. And it's sad. But these moons are changing. That's why you had all these super moons and 2 super moons in 1 month. And just moons, 2 full moons in 1 month. And on. Now, new moon. There's another full moon coming, I think, on the 29th, if I'm not mistaken. May is going to be a big year for metaphysics and prophecy. So this is why people need to keep up. But when you don't really come out here for the right reason, you're going to keep getting caught up on silly stuff. Because you'll go to your grave talking about, where's my twin at? But you got to understand, if that's idolatry, you got to pay for that. Because you can't put anything above the source. Everything has its place. Now me, I'm just as interested as you are about my twin. But I'm not deceived by it. You can never be separated by yourself. I know everybody's looking for love, but you need to spend some time on world events. Because they're getting closer and closer to talking about World War III. Do you know the Damascus prophecy? Serious Damascus prophecy? These are things you should also be aware of. Because otherwise you're going to get blindsided. And then when you're aware of what happened, it's going to be too late. So that's why I said you got to wake up. And this is what all the Scorpio stuff is, and dreams, and Neptune, and Pisces. So I was able to get through all that. And then after all those dreams, I said, nah, I don't think, based on it, the people that was in that dream, they used to be at that same location, because that place I was going is right in front of that location. So it just seemed like it was too much. And plus the readings I was getting was kind of weird a little bit. So I decided, nah, this wouldn't be a good time. Changed my plans. And then, like I said, when I got done, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, a whole lot of other stuff happened. So I had to stand my ground. But the reason why I stand my ground, because I know my universal rights, and I know all about the supernatural, and I know all about the unknown. So while somebody else might be scared, I wasn't. So I stood my ground and everything worked out. Now, that's why the Bible gave you Psalms 23. He said he's walking around in the shadow of death, and he's around evil. So there's a reason for everything. And the more you know why you're here, the more you can deal with life. So this could never just be about, as much as people want to make it just about love and all that, it never will be. And I really think that's why they have so much problems, because your priorities are messed up. And God is not going to bless you if you're putting stuff in front of God. There's a priority in everything. All right, so here we go. Now I'm going to read the 8th house. Now, of course, because I covered all the houses, what they mean, what they represent, covered all the signs, we're going to read all that is in the 8th house of Scorpio. When I get to the right side, it's going to go a lot faster, a lot smoother, because we've covered all that. I'll be looking for unique things. I'll still be explaining the houses, but I don't have to go as intent. Whatever word, intense, because I've already did that to the left side. All right. So this is the 8th house. The 8th house is ruled by Scorpio, which is ruled by Pluto, deals with secrets, sexual matters, mysteries, doubt, accusations, suspicions, supernatural psychic abilities, internal plotting, internal indignation, conspiracy, vengeance, revenge, anxiety, suspicions, doubt, esoteric knowledge, forbidden knowledge, hidden knowledge, obsessions, addictions, compulsive behavior, compulsion, power struggles, manipulations, abuse, greed, lust, compulsive behavior, codependency, stalking, intense watery emotions, arguments, debates, tauntings. And I want to fit jealousy in there. Psychic abilities, great transformation, high sexuality, doubt, debt, taxes, IRS, legal matters, court, lawsuits, inheritance, law breaking, shared resources, finances, business, karma, other people's money, the soul, reincarnation, afterlife, birth, death, resurrection, rebirth, regeneration, rejuvenation, animalistic behaviors, freaky, down and dirty behaviors, psychological situations, studies, research, knowledge, forbidden knowledge, hidden knowledge, investigations, investigators, managers, agents, addictions, drugs, alcoholism, other worlds, creepy crawlies, other dimensions, science, higher sciences, holistic healing, spiritual healings, alternative medicine, internet, long distance, advanced technology, alchemy, metaphysics, sacred geometry, things that are forbidden, taboo, astrology, knowledge, hidden knowledge, aliens, higher life, deceived persons, astroplaning, telekinesis, telepathy, dreams, interpretations, animals, enemies, Halloween, the divine womb, the deities, tarot cards, higher thoughts, inheritances, loans, banking, animals, pregnancy, women, body and finances. The 8th house rules other people's money and transformations. Other people's money can mean debt, taxes, inheritances, wills, joint finances, shared resources, and loans. The 8th house is on the same axis with the second houses. This is the axis of money. The second house is your money. The 8th house is other people's money. Transformation can be spiritual, emotional, psychological changes, outlooks, physically. It can be sex, start of life, pregnancy, process of life, major transformation to a woman's body, and depth, literally and figuratively. Now, this person may have had some type of financial situations of financial disputes with them, primarily their mother, and that's because of Cancer. The moon rules Cancer, and the moon is in her 8th house, and that is the house of like shared resources, other people's money, financial disputes over money. We're saying the mother because of the moon who rules Cancer, but if it could even be the father or whoever played those two roles, but it definitely looks like the mother. The 8th house is one of 3 relationship houses. 5th house is love, 7th house is commitment, 8th house is sex. All right. Now this concludes the left side of the chart. When I come back, we'll be moving into the right side of the chart. Left side was the male, right side. Left side was the female, right side will be the male. Now we have moved to the chart on the right, which is the male. Right away you see that Gemini. East point Gemini, ascendant Gemini. So you're already seeing a connection. Her true north node is Gemini and his ascendant is Gemini. And I believe both of these was born in the same month. Not the same year, but the same month. See, all this stuff is known to people, maybe higher than us, but they know everything. And I try to tell people that because I have the gift of seeing patterns. But just because we perceive something as a month and all that, it doesn't mean that they perceive it as a month. It could be a pathway, a portal. So we already know about Geminis. So the main thing I'm just going to reiterate, because we already explained it to the left, but they don't want to be deep, and they're usually not going to stay in a relationship too long. If you see Gemini in the 10th house, that means that's a person who has many careers, off and on with careers, maybe a part-time here, part-time there. They're not going to really have like a long-term, full-time, long-term job, usually. I mean, there's always exceptions. 4 degrees Gemini. Magnanimous, obliging, and sincere character. Magnanimous, obliging, and sincere character, endowed with excellent discerning facilities. Because Gemini, they're very mental because they're ruled by Mercury. So they can be very mental or intellectual. Good discernment. One readily forgives one's enemies and strives to alienate deprived people's suffering. So that's one thing these two are really like that, helping out the other people. Although this is not particularly interesting and really gain, although a Gemini is not particularly interested in worldly gains, one easily attracts success, wealth, and honest owning to a vivid imagination and artistic gifts. Great achievement can also be expected in diplomacy or politics. '27 degree Gemini. generous, cheerful, hard-working character. One enjoys an excellent health and happy family. And a happy family life amid a large family and host of friends. So you can already see he's going to help her be more, because they say there were chances she might be an isolationist. So remember, Gemini is Mercury. Mercury rules Gemini. So he's helping her with her communications, helping her to be around people more. That's why you might meet somebody, you guys might, do a couple of things and break up, and you wonder why did that even happen? But if you really look now, you can understand. It might be one little thing you learn from that, good or bad. Success can be achieved in animal husbandry or in the exploitation of land, minerals, etc., as well as in agriculture and botany. Careers in science, philosophy, religion, and the arts are also very favorable. So you see the things that these two would have in common. The degree brings about fertility in all areas, including the family with the birth of twins. Wow. If in the natal chart this degree is in conjunction with the midheaven and Jupiter, it promises honors and wealth. With the sun, the moon, or the part of fortune, unforeseen windfalls and legacies can be expected. If in the natal chart this degree is in conjunction with the midheavens and Jupiter, it promises honor and big wealth. If in the natal chart this degree is in conjunction with the sun, the moon, or the part of fortune, which is also the good fortune, unforeseen windfalls and legacies. Unforeseen windfalls and legacies can be expected. All right. And again, that's his 12th house, but they made it into his first house. Now, his second house, Cancer. So we already learned he's a people person, family type guy. So when he goes for finances, he's thinking about family or education as well. Education, to get a better education, he can make more money for the family. Because we already explained what Cancer represents. The fourth house, Gemini, the third house. So he might even have his concerns on real estate, land and property. And he may even understand the value system. Now, in the third house, showing he's a very creative person. But what really sparks his creativity, he kind of is going to think outside the box. So his creativity is going to be very noteworthy, because you got Gemini creativity, but you also got Leo creativity. And then he's got Uranus, which means he's going to really be off the charts with that. But a very provocative person, somewhat an anti-establishment, the boldness of the lion and creativity of Gemini and the lion. And both really, Leo really deals with children, and then the third house, Gemini, also deals with younger ones. So because of these reasons, he may actually be a big hit with, say, teenagers and younger ones, or people that are just youthful. Moving into this fourth house, now you see he got a lot of love there, and he wants his house to be a home. And once again, you see how they mimic each other, because you got Virgo with Neptune and Venus. Now keep in mind that the archangels gave me the time for this particular natal chart, so that Uranus might even be in that house with Venus and Pluto, just like it is over there with hers. It's a possibility. But either way, you see the solemnity, so you could tell they definitely have a soul connection. Now he wants his family to be a home. There may be some type of connection to Mother Mary and the family he was born from. But either way, there's a lot of love there. And this is a family house, but it's really, he makes it into a home. It can't just be a house for him because he's made it into a home. And then the true north node is in Libra, in the fifth house of Leo. And you also have the Vesta there. And what she's trying to do is keep it spiritual. But he has to be careful, because everywhere you see Vesta is where he's using all his energy. And if he doesn't know how to take a break, he could burn himself out. And you have to be very careful with him, because once again, that Libra tends to be in an idealistic world, and they may see things a certain way. And this is his true north node. They may see things a certain way, but then they may blow up if it's not that way. So he has to learn how to roll with the punches, agree to disagree. And then his Mercury is in really, well, they're saying it's at 29 degrees. But because it almost looks like it's on that border, I would say it's in both houses. 29 degrees Mercury. 29 degrees. Yeah, 29 degrees Libra. Reckless, lazy, carefree character, devoid of discernment capacity. One is able to properly analyze a situation, and one feels insecurity even though danger is lurking. Friends are driven by their self-interest and give bad advice, which bring about misfortunes of all kinds. And these misfortunes can be physical, financial, or other ways. But their misfortunes so again he has to be careful because his own friends might take him out. People who are associated might take him out. Alright, so that was 29 degrees Mercury. 29 degrees Libra, excuse me. We see it again. Neptune in Scorpio. And like this one, you see the whole Juno, the whole Juno Palace connection. Now, there's a chance some of this placement was in Sagittarius like hers, or it wasn't and they're just using Jupiter because Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So in the house, it should be a house of healing. It's kind of interesting. I kind of get the feeling she either is going to meet or has already met somebody she would be in a serious relationship with, but it was in some type of service or some type of place where people go to heal. For her, eighth house is in the ruler of her eighth house is in her sixth house of service. And there she would meet that special someone. Palace is helping her with patterns to see and discern patterns. Jupiter is helping her understand life. There's fortune, expansion, and growth. And that would be 0 degrees from Jupiter, Sagittarius, which is a very important aspect. So again, you can see this is your calling. Well, that's his calling, the unknown, because that's his service right there. And this is your daily activity, so this could be another aspect of a person's job, or a person might have more than one job. But see, he's destined to make money off all that, reading dreams, spiritual discernment, psychics, all the words they use in psychic. He's definitely destined to make money doing that. So again, service. Let's do it again. Health, because we read that long list of Scorpio that deals with health and different sciences, different ways to heal. 6th house is ruled by Virgo, health, healing, service, young ones, I guess animals. And right now, Jupiter retrograde is in Scorpio. That's helped him. We must remember what it said about Jupiter being retrograde. Even though his Jupiter is not retrograde, but Jupiter is retrograde in Scorpio, so it's going to affect that chart. So you should be aware of that. All right. 0 degrees. Now remember, Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So what they're doing in the 6th and 7th house, they're really trying to get healing. That's why Virgo is in. They're just playing a lot of games with him. Virgo's in his 4th house, but that's because they started to count one house earlier. Otherwise, Virgo would be really his 3rd house. So they know what they're doing. They're off balancing a lot of energy. But I had to speak. So again, he can make money off all that stuff we was reading when we read everything that's in the 8th house under Scorpio. Scorpio being a ruler, and he has all that going on in his service house. That's his 6th house. So now you want Sagittarius at 0 degrees. simple, independent, and faithful character. Character endowed with high intellectual capacity. One should focus on one's professional pursuit, which one has every chance to be a successful. Zero degree Sagittarius, simple, independent, and fanciful character, endowed with high intellectual capacities. One should focus on one's professional pursuits, which has every chance to be successful in law, religion, or mathematics. One must not listen to friends who urge to leave the path of serious work and indulge in idleness. This would be very detrimental to one's career and after numerous setbacks. And after many setbacks, this will lead to dire poverty. So they can't be idle. So this degree indicates some family symbol, some family secret, or a baby born out of wedlock. And that's the sixth house. And it's right on that border. It's kind of funny how they do it. Because, yeah, I wouldn't necessarily know it would be a baby born. But I would have said, yeah, this dude, because it's right on the border. So he's kind of like got a six. He's got like, because Scorpio is all about that. Scorpio is all about secrets and mistresses and all kind of wild stuff. And keeping it hidden. And then you got Jupiter right on the border. So some of that stuff you're hearing in the news right now could apply to him. Could, possibly. And then it goes into the seventh house of relationship. All right. And then that hook is nurturing. So in the sixth house or the seventh house, this could be something foreign, a different way of a relationship, not just the basic normal way. Could be a foreign speaking person or a foreigner altogether. Might be traveling involved. Might even be higher law, because this is illegal. Your seventh house does deal with the law. And Sagittarius represents higher courts, higher law. Now the moon sign is Capricorn, and Capricorn. That's really like a serious old soul. The moon represents Sirius. All right. And again, this is a business. He could make a business out of the eighth house ruled by Scorpio. And that's what he's also could he could do that in the sixth house too. Because that's about daily activities. It could be a job. Same thing with the moon. It's really the same effect. Psychic abilities. It's just that like Capricorn is more serious-minded, more business-minded. So his 10th house is really in his 8th house. And see, in his 10th house is Pisces. So yeah, so almost like an administrator, pretty much so. So he would try to take the 8th house, which is wild and hidden and everything, but he still wants to bring some standard there. When we get to the 11th house, okay, now he has some healing that won't heal from a all right. All right. So again, he's got some type of Aquarius issues that are hard for him to heal, with some type of Aquarius or Sagittarius energy. And when you go back to her, you see Juno, Sagittarius. And that's also in the 9th house. So the implication is it might be him, but you don't know for sure. It might be this person to the left that caused him to have wounds that can't be healed readily. We just don't have enough info on the charts to say for sure. And again, now in the medium Coeli, once again represents another aspect of a person's life purpose. But his life purpose is kind of like, it is fun. It's Libra. So it could mean couple, partnership. Could be contracts or people. Say social issues. Investors right there trying to make it spiritual as well. And then in that 10th house, it becomes spiritual. All right. Whenever you see 0 degrees, that means like a new beginning. like where you see 29 degrees where your Mercury is, that means a person has been through something and they've learned from it, and now they're able to actually teach other people as well. And maybe that's why you got the Mars, because it looks like some critical issues with the Libra energy, with the Leo and the Libra energy. Some critical moments, critical times, but it's going to help the person. But now it's 0 degrees in her career, and it's going to be spiritual, or his career. And like I say, because he's got the Neptune and Scorpio too. And that is a moon sign. Yeah, so with all these synchronicities, Sun sign Libra, Neptune and Scorpio, and then you got Juno. All right. All right. Good fortune, 10th house. Good fortune, 10th house. So this person will choose a field where he can be a professional person. So it's important for this person to feel professional. So they need a place in the outside world where their status and position is high and their name is associated with the field they're in. 10th house is the house of recognition and public standing. All right. And it means they're not afraid of hard work. So now good fortune in Pisces. And remember, his 10th house is going to be the 12th house as well because of Pisces. Pisces rules the 12th house. So this person will also be spiritual and mystical. The person with the good fortune in Pisces will find happiness and success by concentrating on higher ideas. And then in the 11th house is Aries. I would almost say that Aries is probably her, because we all know he helped her, or is like if this has already happened, but he helped her be more people conscious, because they're kind of saying she would have been an isolationist if it wasn't for him. And now for the 12th house, all about reckoning and dealing with the subconscious, the shadow side, things that are hidden. The universe wants you to address them, pull them out of the closet, and deal with them and get reckoning. But the 12th house is also about karma and things of that nature. But the first thing we're going to do is Lilith. Lilith in Taurus. You protect your security, your belongings with diligence and ruthlessness. If someone takes you for granted, you will shun them. You probably will. Alright, I won't read that. But Taurus in the 12th house has got to be careful, because sometimes Taurus feels like, well, I know more than you, so I should make more than you, and they see it as a financial. But the 12th house is trying to get you to see it spiritually, and sometimes they tend to bully people because they feel like, I studied, I know I'm right, and this is the way it is. You should just do it. And another thing they do is put value on people, and they shouldn't do that as well. You can't be more friendly to Dennis, because Dennis, you benefit from Dennis, whereas Bob doesn't do too much for you, so you really don't care too much about Bob. So these are the things Taurus has to watch out for in the 12th house. And in the 12th house, Taurus doesn't want to make their feelings go inner. They want their feelings to go outer. And they also have to be careful, because Taurus is a sensual sign, so you don't want to find yourself in trouble. Because see, Taurus represents the Pope on a tarot card of the Hierophant. And that's the point. Like, I just saw a picture of the Pope hugging this little boy, but no disrespect, but because of the history, you have to be careful. It's a long history. All right. Give me a moment. Lilith in Taurus gives extraordinary love for the beauty and big emotional activity. You look for your security needs in relationships, contacting others by flirting. That's what I mean about the sensuality. With gifts and properties, others can attract you. Yeah, that's a low vibrational Taurus. And I just said you got to be careful because you'll take bribes or you'll favor one person over another. And you can achieve material security in a partnership. But you may get disturbed by the material dependence on them. And your emotional harmony turns out of the balance or falls out of the balance. So that's what Taurus must do in the 12th house. Right, these are the 12 houses. So definitely a soul connection. And if we knew for a fact the exact time, it probably would be twin flames. But what I'm looking at right now, I'm seeing more like soul connection. But if you notice, it's so close because in a lot of houses, this chart on the right almost mimics this chart on the left, and that's when you know you're looking at twin flames. But it's just a little off, so it's probably because of the time. But I mean, it gave us the best enough for us to see it. So I definitely go with a soulmate relationship. Definitely karmic. You can see how they're helping each other. And when you see Saturn or Capricorn, it's probably karmic. And also sometimes you even see the number 17. You keep seeing 17s on the chart, or you might see combinations of 1 and 7 and things like that. All right. So this will conclude this reading of these two charts. And if anybody's interested in any other services, they're in the description box. If you need a service and price list, you can contact me for it. Also, I do have sales going on. So if you want to act now so you can save yourself finances. And for most information, I need the name, date of birth, city, state, and country. And if you don't have the time of birth, I'll ask the archangels. And if you could write out, when you write out the birth month, year, and date. Don't just go 7/11, 74, something like that. Because in England, that's November 7th, 84, whatever I said. Whereas in America, that would be July 11th or something. So if you write it out, we won't have any mistakes. Alrighty, this concludes our reading. God bless.